on a bang, definitely no pushovers, but Mega, as the returning veterans, certainly had a bit of a shaky start. Now they need to even the ground out.
Yeah.
They need to make sure they're stable going into playoffs.
That's the thing. Oh, meditates 10 minutes after wake up and before going to bed to calm himself down.
That's 20 minutes total a day.
I don't know if it works because he seems full of energy.
Or maybe he's going to meditate. He's going to calm himself down before bed.
Yeah, because otherwise,
and hype himself
otherwise he can't
wake
sleep.
up.
Yeah. It's like, well, that was very restful, now to meditate. But at any rate, yeah, this is Mega looking to, much like some of the other playoff-looking teams have just done on Group A, looking to stabilize, looking to show that week 1 and 2 were just teething pains. They're looking to make a big run. And no, just dive straight in. Bello does get a little bit back on the Farah, but the rest of Mega here actually a little bit kind of caught out in the open, not quite getting these close outs for all these low members of OneShine. And with Sage and God going down, NZNR and Aputo kind of finding themselves a little bit legless to close out the extra kills. Not quite going the way they want. Actually, does get a late one back on Bello. Resin on gun though. OneShine do still have the presence here, and Aputo does need to play carefully.
He's like taking the entire team and putting it on his shoulders here, getting a deflate kill onto Bello. That's one way to take a fire out of the skies. The count, however, did go over to OneShine. Aputo and squad Mega might have been slightly too slow, but the speed has been ramped up. Here comes the blade.
And I love this. This is what they have learned in their year of competitive play. They have learned how to reset quickly, not waste any time. OneShine were not ready for that.
And Bello is once again just kind of caught out, and now we're seeing a similar struggle we've seen earlier this evening when players want to run a fire on Sanctum. If you lose a point, now you got to come back. You have a rocket barrage, but you might not get to use a rocket barrage if you cannot get out of spawn, and that has to be the risk right now. Ins and out with the pulse bomb. Yet with the Transcendence, the tools for Mega are here. The percentage is going up as well. Things are going their way.
At least so far, even as that opening skirmish got a little bit rough, but already seeing the pressure on Gun. Has to back right off.
Oh, they put us on camera.
Pressure Bello. That's the mercy. But I mean, this is like I said, just pressure being exerted. Gun going down. Great follow-up from Aputo. Does get punished for it, but OneShine still has to try and break onto this point. Do get a decent connect onto Sage and God, who didn't get a self-destruct out, unfortunately. But Bello did go down in the mix there. And they're still not actually on the point, keep in mind. This is a fight that's all going to happen off in the corner. Mega will be able to reset a little bit. Actually, late death on Loco may kind of change that.
The reset's going to be a little bit tricky now. They're going to have to walk backwards in time. Aputo doesn't want any of that. The second play of the game is straight into a trance.
Yeah, dead to Puns, unfortunately. That was... I mean, that was also a late commit out of Aputo anyway. Mega had actually already backed off the point and let it go, and I think tried to reset a bit too quickly, tried to recommit too fast.
I think they did see an opportunity there, but unfortunately they didn't account for the Transcendence coming out of Jenny. That being said, both that Transcendence and the Valkyrie from the other support goddess as well, those are now both gone. Mega can come into this one fresh.
Ideally, but they also kind of come into it the same way that they came into the first fight, and that's with Bello pummeling them with rockets. Doesn't have the rocket barrage though, but Puns down. Amazingly, Rocket getting that catch, and that does mean Mega can just pile onto the point. And look at that, no hesitation. Already demeching B-Clock, gun super low. Bello is still trying to get the damage down from the skies, but honestly, the ground game is going the way of Mega. Those rockets had to do a lot of work, and I think it's more work than they really feasibly can, as Janny now down. Goddess kind of had to work overtime there, but even then, not quite enough. And,
this is Puto's
yeah. And with Bello finally dropping as well, any remaining pressure was already just kind of dealt with.
And seeing Rocket's perspective as well, just waiting to see when he might use that sound barrier, if things got a little bit too spicy, I guess, for Mega, where they start losing members, take too much damage. Bello is doing too much damage to them. That's when you see the sound barrier. That kind of safety net for Mega meant that I think they were pretty favored to win that fight. Aputo now ready with blade number 3. One was pretty good. Second was a little risky.
Ooh, just wide on that pulse bomb was Puns, and that's the opening for Aputo. Oh, straight onto Bello goes Sage and God as he was channeling the rocket barrage. That's what Mega were looking for last time around when they pulled out the Dragon Blade. That is Mega at their finest.
And the problem here now for OneShine is there's not enough time, 95%. 5 seconds left to go. Mega's going to do a little bit of a spawn camp. Bello finally goes into Doomfist, but it is too little too late. They got to get so many kills.
Oh, I love this from Mega going so aggressively forward, but they haven't accounted for puns on the point. Oh, that's embarrassing. Goddess did go down to the pulse bomb though, so as Mega pulled back here, they do so with a numbers advantage. Bello ragdolling into the sky, and yeah, Mega just going to collapse in with a numbers advantage here. Should be a pretty easy retake, and at 99% as well, that should also be Sanctum going their way.
And I think Mega had the right game plan there. They just got to cap it back now one more time. OneShine actually have another opportunity to cap this one out, another opportunity to come in, but Bello instantly going down to Pudo, who has now 2 kills.
I mean, they've technically got an opportunity in that technically I am eligible to become Prime Minister of this country.
4 in a row for Pudo.
Yeah, wow.
And by the way, Punj did get that recap, but the thing about Mega is they stayed quite calm there. They didn't care too much about the recap. They didn't commit a member to defend that. And the reason they didn't is because they knew they could win the 6v5. If Punj is going to leave, his team doesn't have that extra member. They win the 6v5. They get the recap themselves anyway afterwards, after they get that 5 win. And then Punj has to leave or Punj dies. Then the rest of the members from OneShine have to desperately go back on the point. Mega, I think, at that stage, had the right plan and were kind of setting themselves up to win regardless.
I mean, on the whole, that kind of felt like, very Mega dominated, because it sort of seemed like when Mega were losing fights, they were kind of losing by their own misplays and their own mistakes. They kind of do feel like just flatly the better of the two, but it does have to be said the consistency isn't there, and OneShine are capitalizing on what opportunities they get. Hard to capitalize on anything though when 2 members are dead, now 3. That is pretty decisive.
And there's not even going to be a big ult charge coming out from OneShine. To be fair, not too big ult charge out of Mega, but they are doubling at least what is on the OneShine side. To speak to the earlier comment as well, to be honest, Mega didn't even really make mistakes. The one big fight they lost on Sanctum, they still got a ton of ults out of the other side, so even when Mega are losing, they're not really losing.
It's kind of reflected in the ultimate score. But in the past now, as it is onto Village, and already D-Mech on B-Clock. Keep Sage and Godsmack in their own right, and they're just deconstructing OneShine, who looks so scattered here.
This is a playground for Apuda right now. He's using it as a jungle gym, climbing around, finding all these kids to bully.
And it kind of does feel a bit like that. Like OneShine are going to be having to call up the school administration.
My ultimate is charged.
All right, it's time to bring out the Doomfist already. It's looking like the Doomfist needs to come out for Bello, and the problem is you can't bring out the he's on Lucio as well, so actually you're not going to see the Doomfist. You can't drop the Lucio at this stage. This is the kind of weird thing for OneShine is Goddess is kind of their secondary DPS player, and when he is, one of their normal DPS players has to go to support.
And that's a little bit it's a bit concerning, really, actually, that perhaps Bello doesn't feel confident enough on the Sombra, or that they feel that Goddess is better. I mean, your DPS player should be the better DPS by rights, but now there is the opportunity with the EMP, but they're not going to get to pull it out. Apudo has other thoughts about that.
Oh my!
Just tearing them to bits.
This is too much. Usually, like, look, Internet's trying to clean up some kills, and Apudo gave them some false hope, like, okay, you're gonna get a little bit here, you're gonna demix Sage and God maybe, and here's my blade.
Yeah.
Go right back to spawn. Go back there, try again.
While you charged EMP, I studied the blade.
Now watch Apudo somehow
get another Dragon Blade, right?
Doesn't die in the EMP or something.
Some odd. I mean, they may not even get an EMP. Already they're being picked apart in the rotation. And they're just never getting the inroad. Goddess instead to Apudo. And this is just, I mean, this is an absolute whitewash now from Mega. I have not seen any kind of map go this one-sided.
Yes,
full, well, no, I haven't.
Didn't have a career.
I have to say I disagree, because at least in that situation, fights were actually happening. The other team, the attacking team, was at least mustering full-blown attacks. At no point there were OneShine in the fight at full strength. They always lost someone early. Like, I can't even count the opening skirmish because 2 members died right at the top of it. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I'd like to also see if Shrine might have been a little bit different, because that could have been a slightly worse map for a... Look, Peter's just so happy about that as well.
I would be too if I could play Genji like that.
He should be. I can play Genji like that, but in a different game, in Heroes of the Overwatch Storm. But right here, though, back into the actual Overwatch game, we didn't get to see Shrine, and I think maybe Shrine could have been slightly better. We would have seen different types of compositions. Maybe Bello could have gone into the Doomfist. I think it's a better Doomfist map, actually. Yeah. More walls to play with, which is very important for that character. But just putting Goddess on Sombra, putting Bello on Lucio just felt awkward, man. And I think that's part of it. Because you go back to Sanctum when they ran their proper, I guess, normal roles, preferred roles even. That was a lot closer. Yes, Mega were still climbing back through even when they lost the cap, but look at the percentage points. I mean, it kind of says something about that matchup versus Village, which was 100-0 and one of the cleaner 100-0s we've seen.
That was pretty nuts. Is the only way I can really express that. I mean, we've kind of had this running thing across this week of Control being close and then everything kind of landsliding from there. I think this is the first time we've seen the landslide begin on Control. Now, I don't want to speak too soon. There's still a lot of series to go, and we do have our next map coming up, which is going to be
crazy Numbani.
It is going to be Numbani, and it is going to be OneShine's pick. But, I mean, just purely based on how Village went, like, at the very least, OneShine have to really turn things around. They have to really kick it up a notch. Otherwise, Mega are just going to pick them apart like cherries on a stem.
And at the same time, this is a potentially, you know, we've also seen Mega just across the board when they get to maps like this as well. Pudo can flex onto other picks. We've seen a Pudo on Sombra. We've seen a Pudo on Soldier as well. In fact, he's been pretty good on Soldier. This has been his best night as a Genji because we've seen a Pudo on Genji in some of the other matchups versus a Bang, versus Yoshimoto and Count, and they didn't look as good as this. This is definitely the best Genji he's had so far.
And that is completely fair to say. It's an interesting
match.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought as well, because you sort of wonder, is that on a Pudo or is that on his opponents there? Because, you know, OneShine and Yoshimoto, but sorry, not OneShine,
a Bang,
whatever. Yeah, a Bang and Yoshimoto both, even on Control, gave Mega more of a run for their money. So, is it a situation of them being more prepared to shut down a Pudo's Genji? Or is it just a situation of a Pudo finally kind of getting his mojo back, if you will, on that hero?
I think Mega has come and gone in stride since their debut in Contenders, right? They had a 3-2 start, and then a 3-0, and now, by the looks of things, this could be their first 4-0. Like, Hong Kong Attitude only just got their first 4-0 this evening. Mega now have not had that. They are also looking for that.
I mean, look, we aren't trying to call it too early here, but we also have to consider, if every map goes the way that Nepal Village just went, this will not just be a 4-0, it'll be one of the most one-sided ones we've seen so far. But it isn't over until it's over. And that means, like I said, OneShine, still plenty of opportunity to turn things around, to fix up what was going wrong, to at least be able to get coordinated offenses underway.
Look at the Pudo's on 17 charge. Bello's less than half of that, well, he's just now starting to catch up. Loco early killed the Goddess.
Yeah, the diver's already gone sour, and they just start to clean up on all of these members of OneShine that just can't really pull out of the fray, and barely even damaging Mega in their own right. Not quite sure what's happening here with a OneShine, but there seems to be no target prioritization.
Well, let me tell you what's happening with Mega at least. Look at the Pudo, 70%. Bello was like not even on 50 yet. This is a Pudo cleaning up kills. He's even the long-range shurikens actually is what's impressive here, because he's able to get such impressive poke damage that off the poke damage, Loco's like, well, cool, there's low players on OneShine. Time to dive in, collect those kills. Now we're nearly onto a Blade, and it's only the second fight.
And that shouldn't be happening. Like, Genji shouldn't be getting that much poke in that he's at 80% off really one fight. Now Bello over onto the Farad. That sort of worked in the past, but yeah, Dragon Blade's now available. OneShine is still looking for their angle in. I guarantee the moment they go for it, Pudo's just going to blade the backline.
Instar's down though, so something has to happen for Mega. Quick snap.
But Gun is down in his own right, and that just removes the frontline pressure that they really need to dislodge a Pudo. Able to get the follow-up anyway, but now Bello is dead in the sky. OneShine have to go big on the commit. They lose puns. Mega are still holding on to this. They've still got enough presence here. OneShine, they're just having members die one by one, even when they're getting kills. And the individuals are dying in the weirdest circumstances. B-Clock now demacked and dropped down. NZNR, he died so early, he's now re-entered the fight. Same is the case for a Pudo, who's still holding on to a Dragon Blade. OneShine got a third, which is a saving grace, but now this has just become a protracted affair for them.
Well, let's look at the positives a little bit, and the positives are still slightly coming in as Punz managed to get himself 2 kills before going down, but OneShine, they killed Inzanuna. They also killed Apudo. Both of those players did not have a chance to use their ultimates. Off that, they got the 1 tick. In fact, 46.5%. That was not a totally bad fight. That was definitely not in Nepal Village. OneShine have started firing back at least a little bit.
But they're now firing into Mega's almost full rack of ultimates, and it's going to be a long time for OneShine to really start to turn this in their favor. And Apudo already with the Nano Blade starting to put the hurt on. Doesn't quite get as much as he would have liked, but OneShine's so low. And that means they start pulling back, but in this really scattered way that they have each and every fight. The low members just get picked off. It's like they're not even all retreating at once. Goddess will get low and back out, but Gun won't. No one's there to cover Goddess. Goddess goes down. Then no one's there to cover Gun as he pulls out, and he almost goes down. Like, where is the coordination?
For OneShine, though, Rocket Barrage now into play, the potentially final push here. 60 seconds remaining. This could just be a very easy A hold. I say easy, though, but Mega have at least struggled somewhat. Again, it's no Nepal Village, but at the same time, they might still win, despite it not being a Nepal Village.
Nearly got that stick onto Bello. Has to pop out the sound barrier because Punz was getting dangerously low, but Yut in his own right can throw out the Transcendence. There is the barrage, but Sergeant God runs straight into him and commits out a self-destruct to get kills. OneShine, if that was their last hurrah, then it was more like a huh, because Mega just kind of cut them at the throat there.
And especially because Apudo's playing Genji, and now we see, just start with the Doomfist. I think for OneShine, there's a desperation time when they go Doomfist. The desperation time is just the start of the next map.
The desperation time is the whole map.
Just right now, just straight away go the Doomfist. And actually, to be quite honest, it kind of counters Apudo in a way. You get a nice rocket punch, he's down.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're looking for. Ooh, barely not quite connecting, just sort of glanced him on the cart, but this time they're getting the damage out. They've got Rocket 1 for 1 though, and OneShine getting low. Bello not really getting the legs
he's
that he
targeted.
needs. Yeah, and Loco just starting to just wrap around, catch all these squishies. The tanks aren't getting enough done on the front line for OneShine. The squishies are too exposed at all times, and Mega are just exploiting it. Already, this final fight is just going to slide the way of Mega without really much more than a whisper from OneShine.
Even at the end there, look, Mega, they know OneShine's tricks at this stage. I would consider that most teams in Contenders Pacific kind of know the tricks of OneShine at this stage, which is to say, Bello's going to go Doom first, and then he's now going to get counted out. You saw the target priority there. Loco straight onto him. Apudo knows what's up. He dodged that rocket punch. Well, you know, kind of Bello missed it kind of as well.
Bit of column B.
But if Bello kind of hit that one, maybe he starts popping off. Maybe he goes into another kill. Things start happening for OneShine, but it's a lot of ifs right now.
Yeah.
OneShine, they actually got to make it happen because... You know, that might not have been Nepal, but it was still very, very good for Mega.
And that's what we mentioned at the top of the series as well. I mean, Bello's Doomfist is this wacky pocket pick that has just gone off to such great effect. Formerly, funny enough, on Numbani, as it would happen.
Hanamura, you mean?
And Hanamura. But the thing is, more importantly, on the whole, like, Mega were ready for it. Like, you can't just pull out the same trick over and over. Of course you can't. And OneShine now don't really have any other tricks.
And the other trick is going to be Bello on the Junkrat instead. He actually has he's got a lot, this is the thing, he's got a lot of different picks, but his best one is definitely the Doomfist. Let's see what he can get done with the Junkrat. The issue with the Junkrat here is, if Apudo spots this, and I guess really if Mega spot this, they should go far. That should give them a lot of space against Bello, but at the same time, they got to be concerned about Punz. So right now, they're very much all-inning on this Junkrat working. In fact, they're all-inning so much, they're making sure they have a really good fire encounter, but at the same time, we've seen defensive Widowmakers on A, and to be quite fair, they're not that good. Like, there's a lot of issues with defensive Widowmakers on A.
I mean, if this is their, you know, we can't use Doomfist anymore, and this is all we've got, pocket strategy, then... I mean, it's going to have to go up to pretty great effect to convince me, is what I will say. And I mean, in general, we already know the caliber of Mega here. Also, interesting enough, kind of going with the Pacific Special, the long gun, short gun.
And we know Apudo's got a really good soldier, so, you know, this is almost to be expected to some degree. And Bello and Gun holding that upper section is actually really good here. They're going to stop Apudo from getting the high ground, which is part of this win condition. Apudo now going to the low ground instead.
Yeah, and that does mean OneShine kind of have the surrounds here. This is kind of what they need, but Mega sort of pushing onto the high ground. By the way, someone's been on the point the whole time, so nearly a third cap, and already they're getting the kills in. They don't even need that high ground setup. I mean, Apudo is still a great soldier, and look, stopping that one high ground setup a win does not make. You've still actually got to get the kills, you've got to convert the fight, and the one converting the fight is NZNR on this Tracer, just going absolutely bonkers. That is really quick.
And you see the dive in from Loco as well. As soon as they spot what they need to do, it's like, okay, well, Bello's on that high ground. He's pretty diveable, to be quite fair. Loco goes there, Bello tries to run. The problem is he grenade jumps across the point onto the opposite side directly into Pudo's sight lines. Pudo cleans up that kill. Your one now biggest DPS, the biggest source of damage, immediately down. On the other hand, you've still got puns on this Widowmaker. I've already said, but defensive Widowmaker on A is just very risky, and oftentimes, pretty much every time that we've seen it now in Contenders, has just not had any effect. It's almost entirely useless. Just didn't do anything, unfortunately. Pretty easy roll on through for Mega.
I mean, pretty easy on the defense as well. I think there was one point where they kind of got a little bit more challenged. That was when that third did get capped over, but it was happening in a lost fight anyway. It was more just, you know, the specific positioning of the fight was such that a couple of members of OneShine were able to be on the point. But the funny thing about that is, by being on the point, those members actually weren't really involved in the fight itself. So it just kind of keeps sliding the numbers the way of Mega. I mean, it's one thing to get a pick and be in a 6 versus 5. It's another thing to get a pick and have some members not quite there, be in a 6 versus 4. Then they start retreating, but they retreat disjointedly. You're in a 6 versus 3, and your flanker goes and kills the one. And it just all falls to bits for OneShine. The coordination, I have to say, is right now wholly lacking.
All right, well, we'll see if the coordination can improve, or we will see Mega walking away with a 4-0. OneShine got a lot of work to do. Let's see what they can do right after this break.